Gloria Ikedi stood at the entrance of her family's modest compound with folded arms as she watched students in their neat uniforms hurry past. At 20, she was no longer the wide-eyed secondary school girl she had been just 2 years ago. The lines of worry on her mother's face and the growing pile of unpaid bills had taught her early that dreams needed more than just wishes to fly. "Gloria! Gloria!" Her mother's voice cut through her thoughts. "Have you forgotten that your father's medicine needs to be bought today?" Gloria sighed, her hand automatically going to the empty pocket of her faded Ankara dress. Her father's illness had stretched their family's resources thinner than morning pap, but the thought of another missed admission into the university made her chest tighten. It was on such a day that Emeka first entered their lives, like an answer to an unspoken prayer. One Sunday morning, the church service had just ended at St. Paul's Anglican Church, and the congregation was milling around in their Sunday best, exchanging greetings and the latest neighborhood gossip. Emeka stood out, not because of any flashy clothing. His shirt was simple but crisp. His trousers well pressed, but obviously not designer wear. It was his quiet confidence and the intelligent spark in his eyes that drew attention. "Ne, that young man has been asking about your family. He is a computer engineer with his own small company. Very hardworking and God-fearing." Mrs. Okoli, a long-time neighbor to Gloria's family, whispered to Gloria's mother after church service. "What exactly has he been asking about?" Gloria's mother asked. "He seems to want to know about Gloria, your daughter. He has been asking about her education, and I told him that Gloria is very intelligent, but was having challenges furthering her education. I think he wants an opportunity to see your family to help out, but doesn't know how to go about it." Mrs. Okoli responded. "If that is the case, then tell him that if his intentions are good, then he is welcome to pay us a visit," Gloria's mother responded. What followed next was a series of proper visits from Emeka to Gloria's family house. He was 32, self-made, and carried himself with the dignity of a man who had fought his way up from nothing. His small but growing tech company was gaining recognition in the eastern states. "I want to help," he said simply one evening, sitting in Gloria's living room, his hands clasped firmly in his lap. "I see potential in Gloria, and it pains me to see it wasting away because of circumstances." Gloria's father, propped up on his sick bed, said weakly, "But why, my son? You are not even a relation." Emeka's response was measured, his Igbo perfectly respectful. "Nam, sometimes God uses us as vessels to lift others. I was once helped by a stranger when I had nothing. Besides, your daughter is intelligent. Her JAMB scores prove it. Such talent shouldn't be wasted." That was how Gloria's university education began at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Emeka paid for everything: the school fees, the textbooks, her accommodation at the female hostels, and even her feeding allowance. The arrangement was clear and honorable, done with her parents' blessing and approval. What wasn't officially stated, but understood by everyone, was that this was a long-term investment in a future together. Gloria knew it, her parents knew it, and the neighbors nodded approvingly whenever Emeka's clean-looking Toyota Camry pulled up at their compound during his visiting weekends. For the first 2 years, everything seemed perfect. Gloria excelled in her studies, making Emeka proud. He never pressured her, never made inappropriate demands. His support came with genuine care and respect. Education first, he would say during their evening calls. Build your foundation strong, Gloria. Everything else will follow. I believe in you, and I know that you will make me proud. Gloria grew to appreciate Emeka's wisdom, his patient explanations about business and life. When other girls in their hostel bragged about their sugar daddies and showed off expensive phones and weaves, Gloria felt a different kind of pride. Hers was a man building her up, not just dressing her up. But life has a way of testing the strongest foundations. It was during her 3rd year studying economics that the first cracks appeared. Gloria had begun to notice things she hadn't noticed before, like how Emeka's car was always the same trusty Camry, while her classmates' boyfriends drove flashier cars. How his clothes, though neat, didn't carry the designer labels that were becoming increasingly important in her social circles. You need to upgrade your style a little, Emeka. Maybe something more modern, she suggested one day to him while trying to sound casual. Emeka had laughed, that warm laugh that used to make her feel safe, but now made her slightly embarrassed. What for? These clothes are still good. Besides, I'm investing in something bigger, our future, he replied. The word, our future, made Gloria shift uncomfortably, though she couldn't explain why. It was around this time that her friend, Chioma, started filling her head with stories about the glamorous lives of their childhood friends who had married abroad people. Did you hear about Adanna, the one who married that guy from Houston? She just sent her mother a car. And blessing in London, her Instagram stories alone are giving me high blood pressure. She would say to Gloria. Gloria would smile and defend Emeka, but seeds of discontent had been planted. She began to spend more time on social media, following the lives of Nigerian girls in diaspora. Their perfectly curated photos of life abroad painted pictures that haunted her dreams. You are becoming distant, Emeka observed during one of his visits. They were sitting at their usual spot, a small garden restaurant near campus, where they used to discuss her studies and dreams. I'm just focused on my finals, she lied, avoiding his concerned gaze. But they both knew something had shifted. The easy conversations they once shared had become forced. His practical advice about saving and investing now sounded old-fashioned to Gloria's ears. Even his success, which had once impressed her, seemed provincial compared to the international lifestyle she now craved. What Gloria didn't see was how Emeka noticed every subtle change in her attitude, how he recognized the way her eyes would glaze over when he talked about his latest business contract, how she had stopped asking about his dreams of expanding his company across Nigeria. The man who had never missed her birthday or failed to send her monthly allowance on time began to wonder if love built on gratitude was enough to weather the storms of changing aspirations. Neither of them knew that their world was about to be shaken to its foundations. December was approaching, and with it, the annual return of the Christmas abroad people, those who lived overseas and came home to flaunt their success. Among them was Harry, fresh from America, whose arrival would test not just their relationship, but the very values that had brought them together. December arrived in a blaze of dust and celebration. The streets of Enugu transformed as they always did during the Christmas season. Buildings freshly painted, streets swept clean, and the air thick with anticipation. But this year was different. Harry Ike had announced his return from America, and the entire neighborhood buzzed with excitement. Harry's arrival was nothing short of theatrical. His rented Lexus SUV crawled through the narrow streets, its metallic paint gleaming under the harsh Nigerian sun. American hip-hop songs boomed from its speakers, drowning out even the persistent calls of street vendors. The car alone would have been enough to turn heads, but Harry's appearance completed the spectacle. Oh boy, look at his designer wear. Oh, Gloria's friend squealed as they watched from the balcony of Gloria's hostel. Is that Gucci or Versace? Chai! If you go the woke in ego, meaning when you see the man, you will perceive his money. Gloria couldn't take her eyes off the scene. Harry stepped out of his car like a movie star. Designer sunglasses, gold chain glinting, and what looked like the latest iPhone in his hand. He spoke with an exaggerated American accent that made the local kids gather around him in awe. "What's good, my beautiful people?" Harry called out, spreading his arms wide. "America is in the building." The contrast couldn't have been starker when Emeka visited campus later that day in his familiar Camry. He found Gloria distracted, her responses clipped, but he had exciting news and thought that it would lighten her mood. "I secured that government contract we talked about," he said, trying to share his excitement. "This could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for. In 2 years, we could even..." "That's nice," Gloria interrupted, her eyes fixed on her phone, where she was scrolling through pictures of Harry's welcome party posted on social media. "Did you hear about the new guy from America? He's organizing an empowerment program." Emeka felt a familiar knot in his stomach. "Gloria, we need to talk about our future. You are graduating in 6 months, and I think it's time Can we discuss this later, please?" Chioma said the youth empowerment talk will take place at the community hall tomorrow. "I should go, for networking purposes," Gloria said, more interested in going for the event than listening to what Emeka was saying. Emeka, seeing that her mind was made up to go for the event, decided not to push the issue any further. The so-called networking event turned out to be more of a show-off session. Harry stood before the gathered youth, his gold rings catching the light as he gestured dramatically. "Listen up, my people," he declared, his accent switching between American and Nigerian. "In America, we don't waste time with small business. Think big, drive big, live big." Gloria sat in the front row, enchanted. Every story Harry told painted a picture of a magical life abroad. Shopping malls larger than villages, streets paved with opportunity, and money that seemed to flow like water. What she didn't notice was how Harry's eyes kept darting her way, how his stories became more embellished whenever she laughed. She didn't see the calculating look behind his designer glasses. But the community noticed. Whispers began to circulate. Did you see how that America boy is always around Emeka's girlfriend these days? After all Emeka did for her? These young girls of nowadays, their eyes are too sharp for money. One of the women in their neighborhood said to another. The situation came to a head at a community wedding the following weekend. Harry arrived in another rented luxury car, this time making sure to park right next to where Emeka parked his Camry. The contrast was deliberate and cruel. Gloria had been increasingly distant all week, making excuses to miss her regular dates with Emeka and instead spending more time with Harry. So, at the community wedding, when Gloria sighted Harry at the wedding, Gloria feigned an excuse of not feeling well and needed to go home, to which Emeka offered to take her home, but she declined. She instead went outside and sent Harry an SMS to meet her outside. They both stood by Harry's rented luxurious car, with Gloria laughing at his jokes, touching his arm and admiring his watch. When Emeka wanted to leave the wedding, he came out and saw them together. He then approached them, maintaining his dignity despite what he saw. Gloria, can we talk? About what? Her voice was loud. About your small local business? About how you want me to become a local champion like you? Gloria, Emeka's voice was steady. Everything I did was for your growth, for our future. Future? She laughed, but it wasn't her natural laugh. What future? Driving that same car for the next 10 years? Living in a 2-bedroom flat while my mates are in America? Harry stood by, a smirk playing on his lips. My sister, tell am o, local champions no fit understand international package. But what happened next would be talked about in the community for years to come. Gloria, caught up in the moment, her mind clouded by dreams of a glamorous life abroad, did the unthinkable. She spat at Emeka's feet. Twa! I regret every second I spent with you. You think because he paid my school fees, you own me? Harry has shown me what a real man looks like, Gloria declared. The crowd outside gasped. Some of the young girls shook their heads, but Gloria wasn't finished. Look at you, calling yourself a businessman and a tech startup owner. Can you take me abroad? Can you buy me designers? Can you? Enough! Emeka's word cut through her rant. He looked at her, not with anger, but with something worse, disappointment. I invested in your brain, Gloria, not your greed. But I will not banter words with you. I sincerely wish you well. Without any further word, he turned and walked away, his back straight, his dignity intact. As he left, an old woman in the crowd muttered loud enough for Gloria to hear. The day monkey go market, na that day him go know say him tail long. But Gloria didn't feel any remorse. She was bent on impressing Harry, and increasing her chances of moving abroad with him. Within weeks, Harry had approached Gloria's family with bride price negotiations. Everything moved at a dizzying pace. Her parents, though uncomfortable with the situation, were swayed by Harry's grand promises and the allure of having a daughter abroad. The traditional wedding was a lavish affair, with Harry sparing no expense to show off. He even hired cameramen to document everything for his YouTube channel. Gloria stood beside him, resplendent in her George wrapper and coral beads, trying to ignore the whispers and pointed looks from the community. As she prepared to leave for America with her new husband, Gloria's mother pulled her aside. "Nne," she said softly, "I know it may seem like this is coming late, but I have a strange feeling about this marriage. I hope you know what you are doing. It is never too late to retrace your steps, and sometimes the sweetest soup has the bitterest aftertaste." "Mama, you worry too much. Harry has shown that he is a perfect gentleman. He has spoiled us with gifts and money. Can you imagine what will happen when we get to America? I will be in heaven. Or don't you want to come and do omugo in America?" Gloria said. I know. I want to enjoy too. But I can't help but feel that this decision might not be good. And when I think of Emeka and all that he did for you and how he must be feeling, I really don't know what to do. Mama, Harry has already told me that when we get to America, he will send Emeka the money he spent on training me. He will refund him every kobo and even add more to it in appreciation. Don't worry, Mama. Everything will be sorted out, Gloria said, smiling. Gloria continued posting farewell pictures on Instagram, too excited about her new life to notice the worried looks exchanged by her parents, too blind to see the calculating glances Harry gave her when he thought no one was watching. As their flight took off from Enugu Airport, Gloria looked down at the disappearing city, her heart swelling with triumph. She had chosen the glittering path, she thought to herself. But what she didn't know was that not all that glitters is gold, and that she was about to meet the biggest shock of her life. The first signs that Gloria's American dream might be different from her Instagram fantasies appeared right at JFK Airport. Instead of she and Harry heading to a luxury apartment in Manhattan as she had imagined, Harry guided her to a crowded subway train bound for a far-flung corner of the Bronx. That wasn't all. She found herself climbing a 5 flights of stairs in a building with a broken elevator. "Baby, the house is just temporary," Harry assured her. "Just wait until my big business plans materialize and I will take you to a mansion." Harry ushered her into a stark 1-bedroom unit with peeling wallpaper and a window that looked directly into a brick wall. The furniture was sparse, mostly second-hand pieces Harry had collected from various garage sales. But your photos," Gloria stammered, remembering the luxurious backdrops in Harry's social media posts. Harry laughed nervously. Those are hotel lobbies, baby. Everyone does it. Or how else will you people back home respect us? While Gloria was still trying to understand what was going on, reality crashed down harder on her the next morning when Harry's alarm went off at 4 a.m. "I have to get to work," he mumbled, pulling on a uniform. "Work? What kind of business opens this early?" I'm a security guard at a warehouse," Harry admitted, avoiding her eyes. "But it's temporary, you understand. My friend is connecting me to some big investors. You remember the big business plans I told you about yesterday when we arrived?" Gloria sat up on their squeaking bed, her world spinning. The designer clothes Harry had flaunted back in Nigeria were all packed away now, replaced by practical, worn clothing. His American accent had disappeared entirely. The final blow came when Harry handed her a newspaper with job listings circled in red. "We need 2 incomes to survive here, girl. The rent is 3 months behind, and I've been managing with credit cards," Harry said as he closed the door and left for work. "Oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?" Gloria muttered to herself. So, Harry was portraying a fake life back in Nigeria, and I stupidly fell for it. Oh, I allowed myself to get carried away with the stories and pictures my friend Chioma used to tell me about abroad people. Hey, Chimo! But I brought this upon myself, because if I hadn't allowed myself to be carried away, I would still be with Emeka, who not only cared about me, but never for once failed in providing for me. Now, I have not even rested from the long travel from Nigeria to the US, and I'm asked to start looking for a job so that we can survive. Chai! Gloria, who did this to you? My poor mother tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. I'm sure they will cover their faces in shame when they hear the truth. Oh God, please help me," Gloria cried. But all that cry to God didn't help her, because within a week, Gloria found herself working 2 jobs. One as a cashier at a supermarket, and another as an evening cleaner at an office building. Her designer clothes that Harry bought for her back in Nigeria when he was portraying a flamboyant life abroad now gathered dust in their tiny closet as she wore the same practical uniforms day after day. The contrast between her imagined American life and reality was stark. No shopping sprees at luxury stores, no fancy restaurants, no scenic drives in expensive cars. Instead, there were long hours on her feet, rushed meals of instant noodles, and endless calculations to make their money stretch until the next payday. Meanwhile, back in Nigeria, life moved on. Emeka threw himself into his work, his pain fueling his drive for success. His tech company secured bigger contracts, and his innovative solutions to local problems caught the attention of international investors. One evening, while reviewing proposals in his office, his assistant showed in a young woman named Chioma, a software developer with fresh ideas about digital payment solutions. "Sir," Chioma said, her voice confident but not brash, "I've studied your company's growth, and I believe I have solutions that could revolutionize how you handle interbank transactions." Emeka looked up, intrigued not just by her ideas, but by her practical intelligence. Here was someone who saw beyond surface glamour to real value. Their professional relationship blossomed into friendship and eventually into love. A love built on mutual respect, shared values, and common goals. Chidinma wasn't just beautiful. She was brilliant, grounded, and shared Emeka's vision of building something meaningful in Nigeria. "We don't need to look outside for validation," she would say during their strategy meetings. "The real opportunities are right here, waiting for those brave enough to seize them." Their wedding was modest but meaningful. Instead of spending lavishly on ceremonies, they invested in their future, expanding their business and creating employment opportunities for young Nigerians. Back in America, Gloria's life fell into a grinding routine. Her social media posts became rare, and when they happened, they were carefully staged to hide the reality of her situation. And when she wants to take a photo, she would make sure to stand in front of Times Square during her rare free evenings. A selfie with a borrowed designer bag, anything to maintain the facade. Harry's big business plans never materialized. Instead, their lives became an endless cycle of work, bills, and quiet desperation. The warm Nigerian community she had dreamed of finding abroad turned out to be scattered and distant because everyone was too busy trying to survive. Late at night, scrolling through her phone in their cramped apartment, Gloria would see updates from home. Her heart would clench at news of Emeka's growing success. His company had gone digital, solving critical problems in Nigeria's tech space. There he was, cutting ribbons at office openings, speaking at technology conferences, and being featured in business magazines. And beside him, in many photos, was a woman Gloria recognized as successful in her own right, elegant, accomplished, and genuinely happy. Their joy wasn't filtered or staged. It radiated from every candid shot. She remembered that she once called Emeka local champion. Now, the words tasted like ashes in her mouth, she thought, as she worked another late shift at the supermarket, her feet aching and her dreams dying a slow death in the fluorescent lit aisles. But life had saved its cruelest joke for last. As she restocked shelves at the supermarket one winter evening, she overheard a conversation between a child and her father. The father's voice was familiar, and so she turned to see who it might be. "Daddy, can we get some Nigerian snacks?" the little girl said to the father. "Sure, princess. Let's ask that attendant where the African section is." Gloria's heart stopped. She knew that voice and that face, the one she had once dismissed as not good enough, not ambitious enough, not foreign enough. Gloria's hands trembled as she gripped the shelf, packets of dried beans crackling under her fingers. There was Emeka, looking even more distinguished than in his photos. He wore a well-tailored suit that spoke of genuine success rather than borrowed flash. A beautiful little girl, around 5 years old, clutched his hand, while his wife, Chidinma, pushed a shopping cart, her pregnant belly visible under her elegant winter coat. "Excuse me," Emeka began politely, not recognizing her at first. "Could you direct us to—" The words died on his lips as Gloria turned slowly, her supermarket uniform hanging loosely on her frame, her once carefully maintained hair now simply pulled back in a practical bun. Recognition flicked across Emeka's face, followed by something that hurt worse than anger or contempt. Just simple surprise, as if she were a casual acquaintance from long ago. "Gloria," he said softly. His daughter tugged at his hand. "Daddy, who is that?" Before he could answer, Chidinma stepped forward, her face showing neither triumph nor malice, but a gentle understanding that made Gloria want to sink into the floor. "Nne, are you okay?" Chidinma asked in Igbo, genuine concern in her face. "You look tired." The simple kindness broke something in Gloria. Tears welled up in her eyes as years of maintained pretense crumbled. "I'm fine. I'm just finishing my shift," she managed to say, her practiced American accent slipping away. "If you are looking for African products, they are in aisle 7. "Thank you," Emeka said formally, but then hesitated. "Are you sure you are? Harry is waiting outside in the car. I have to go," Gloria blurted out, the old habit of saving face kicking in automatically. But even as she said it, she knew they could see through her. There was no car, no waiting Harry, just more shifts, more bills, more pretending. Emeka's daughter, innocent of the complex adult emotions swirling around her, smiled brightly at Gloria. "Auntie, your uniform looks like the one my aunt wears at her hospital. She's a doctor. Are you also a doctor?" Gloria felt the irony, like a physical pain. Here she was, being mistaken for a medical professional by a child, when reality was so different. "We are here for a tech conference," Emeka said, seemingly feeling the need to fill the awkward silence. "I'm speaking about digital innovation in African markets. My wife, Chidinma, is also showcasing her company's new financial technology platform. We could send you and Harry an invitation card if you would like to attend." Each word was like a gentle reminder of what could have been, of opportunities lost, not through lack of privilege or education, but through the pursuit of false gold. That's wonderful. But Harry is very busy with his businesses. Maybe some other time, Gloria managed to say. Chidinma, with the grace of a truly confident woman, reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. "If you ever want to come home, Gloria, there's always room for talent in Nigeria. The country is changing. Real opportunities don't always come in glitter," Chidinma said, seeming to see beyond Gloria's facade. The moment was interrupted by Gloria's supervisor calling from the front. "Gloria, Register 3 needs backup." I really have to go now," she stammered, taking the card automatically. "Thank you. I'll reach out if need be." As she watched Emeka and his family walk away, a successful family buying African snacks as a cultural reminder for their daughter rather than as their only affordable meal option, Gloria felt the full weight of her choices. Later that night, in their small apartment, Harry was complaining about his supervisor again, laying out another grand scheme that would never materialize when Gloria finally broke her silence. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked suddenly. "Regret what?" "The show-offs, the lies, making everyone back home think we are living some fantastic life when we can barely pay for rent. Harry's face darkened. You weren't complaining when I was impressing your friends back home. Or have you forgotten how you treated that your former... His name is Emeka. Gloria cut in, her voice firm for the first time in years. And I saw him today. He's here for a tech conference, speaking as an industry leader. His wife is a CEO. They are actually living the life we are pretending to have, she said, each word deliberate. Harry slumped on their second-hand couch. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry I couldn't give you the life I promised? That I was wrong too? No, Gloria interrupted, pulling out Chidinma's card from her pocket. I want us to stop lying to others and to ourselves. I want us to build something real, even if it means starting over, even if it means going home. She looked around their small apartment, seeing it clearly for the first time, not as a temporary stop on the way to American luxury, but as a monument to misplaced pride and shallow dreams. There's dignity in honest work, she said, remembering Emeka's words from so long ago. But there's no dignity in living a lie, Harry. That night, as Harry slept, Gloria sat by their window, looking at the brick wall that had been her view for the past few years. She took out her phone and, for the first time since coming to America, she posted a real photo of her life. No filters, no borrowed backdrop, just her simple truth. The caption read, "Not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes the real treasure is in the lessons we learn along the way." As responses began to flood in, some were supportive, others surprised, many understanding. Gloria felt something she hadn't in years: hope. Not the false hope of quick riches and borrowed glamour, but the solid hope that comes with facing reality and choosing to build something genuine from its foundations. She picked up Chidinma's card again, running her fingers over the embossed letters. Tomorrow would be another long day of work, but for the first time, each hour would be a step towards something real, whether that meant building a new life in America through honest work and gradual progress, or returning home to contribute to Nigerians' growing opportunities. Gloria thought of Emeka's daughter, so innocent in her assumptions about uniforms and success. She thought of Chidinma's grace, free from petty triumph, but mostly, she thought of her younger self, who had spat at genuine love in pursuit of a glittering lie. The sweetest soup has the bitterest aftertaste, her mother had warned. Now, years later, Gloria finally understood that statement. But with understanding came wisdom, and with wisdom, the chance to write a new story, one based not on appearances, but on truth, dignity, and real growth. As she finally drifted off to sleep, her last thought was of that business card and the tomorrow it represented, not as an escape route, but as a bridge to redemption, one honest step at a time. Few months later, Gloria was back in Nigeria. She and Harry couldn't continue with the marriage because she saw that Harry's claims of having plans for big business investment was all a lie, and Harry was always spending the little change he had on other women, clubbing and drinking. Their separation was quiet, unlike their loud wedding. Gloria picked up the pieces of her life as she diligently worked hard to earn a position in Chidinma's company. This time, she knew the value of honest work, of staying true, instead of living a pretentious life. Never again did she wish to have the life of the people she saw exhibiting their wealth on social media. She never hesitated to warn people about falling for the fake flamboyant life of some people abroad. After a few years, she got married again to a businessman, and this time it was out of true affection and love and not greed. Indeed, once bitten, twice shy. Thank you so much for watching the last part of the story. I really appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel because it will mean a lot to me. And if you can, leave a comment for me in the comment section on what you think about the story and I would respond. Until I come your way again soon, stay happy.